Vegas Formula One Championship odds and driver changes edition of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog. Underdog is hooking up new customers. Play just $5 and get $75 in bonus funds when you sign up with our promo code RACESGPN.
Driver, start your engine!
Strap in and pull those belts up tight as the Sports Gambling Podcast Network presents the NASCAR Gambling Podcast.
I'm just gonna put my foot on the floor and I'm not lifting till I see God or a checkered flag.
My man.
With all the news and the best bets for your NASCAR weekend.
We want to thank you tonight for these mighty machines that you brought before us. Thank you for the Dodges and the Toyotas. Thank you for the Fords. Lord, I want to thank you for my smoking hot wife tonight, Lisa. In Jesus' name, boogity, boogity, boogity.
Now, here are your hosts, Rod Villagomez and Cody Zeeb.
Welcome in to another episode of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. He's Cody Zeeb. I'm Rod Villagomez. And we begin the show today with an absolutely horrific and heartbreaking news. If you haven't heard already, which I'm sure you have, it's been all over social media. It's been all over the news. Unfortunately, today, we not only lost Greg Biffle in a plane crash, but his entire family as well, his wife and two children. Just a terrible, terrible situation to report, and just a terrible thing to hear. I mean, I know earlier in the day we had heard something about a plane crash, and then as news started to trickle out, you know, it was Greg Biffle's private plane, and then, of course, as the news started to progress some more, then it was Greg Biffle and his family were on board, and so as the news unfolded, Cody, it got worse and worse as the day progressed, but what a terrible loss for NASCAR and the world at large, to be completely honest with you.
Yeah, absolutely. It just horrible, tragic news. Feels a lot like it did when we heard about the Kobe Bryant accident. Honestly, so especially for me, somebody that during my childhood had a large impact. Right, he wasn't maybe to the level of a Kobe Bryant was in the NBA, but Greg Biffle was a force in the garage in the NASCAR world for years and years, driving that 16 car. I mean, iconic. Like if I think of the number 16 in NASCAR, Greg Biffle is the guy that comes to mind. Right. Some other guys have driven the number, but Biffle is the guy. So horrible that he was on that plane. Obviously, his family all with him, which is sad. There were a few other people on the plane as well. So yeah, just our thoughts are out with them. And man, it's so tragic and makes you again step back and think about it, right? And think about how short life is and how quick it can be gone. Make sure you're enjoying it. And honestly, that's one of the things about Greg Biffle is he's been around still, right? He's been retired from NASCAR for quite some time, but he's been around. He came back and drove a Truck Series race a couple of years ago. He hadn't done it in 15 years, goes out, kicks everybody's ass, takes home the win. He started a Daytona 500 a couple of years ago. He was running ARCA stuff. Recently, he's been doing the stuff with Cletus McFarland, had the whole no sleeves thing this summer. That was great. He was doing the 12 days of Biffmas every day, up until today, obviously. And all of that in racing and on the track. And that's not even his greatest story, right? He is a top level, an American hero and humanitarian, the way that him and Cletus took advantage of the aviation, unfortunately, was what got him in the end. But they took advantage of their ability to have access to helicopters, being able to fly, taking supplies to people in North Carolina that couldn't get them. I believe they were just down in Jamaica when that hurricane hit not long ago. And the impact that he had on giving back to people and just being a great human being, being a great American, that's the lasting impact of Greg Biffle. And man, just horrible news. It's gut wrenching, kind of like almost takes you to a knee where it's just like, wow, drops down your day and you just feel horrible for the family and just really tough day.
Yeah, absolutely tough for the entire NASCAR world. And honestly, if you think about what Greg Biffle would want out of everybody as well, is to just continue his legacy of just being an overall good person, right? I mean, just be a good person, right? And enjoy your life, enjoy what you do, enjoy who you do it with. And so, unfortunately, in the spirit of everything, we do have to carry on. We do have to continue on, even though the news gut punches you. And again, in tribute of guys who have paved the way to make us here, or to give us a platform here to talk about NASCAR. We'll honor him with this broadcast, but also remember him.
Yeah, and that's exactly what somebody like him would want, right? Is take a moment to remember him and recognize what he did for the sport and for everybody, and you move on, you keep racing, you go and have fun, because that's how life works, and it is short, so we need to cherish it. We need to have fun. I did want, there was a couple of people I think that threw this out, but I first saw it from at JSeanAU 2006, so wanted to toss it out, give them a shout out. But they said 2026 should be the inaugural year for the Greg Biffle Humanitarian Award, given to the driver who goes above and beyond to assist community impacted by disaster. NASCAR, let's go. Get that in the works right now. That needs to be a thing going forward. It's the perfect award and would be just a great, great way to honor Greg Biffle and his legacy he's behind.
An absolute 1,000%. That is a no-brainer for sure. Yeah, we need to get that moving. All right, speaking of getting moving, we will continue to get moving with this show because we're going to talk F1 today. We're going to step away from NASCAR for the second day in a row because, again, this everything is gearing up for the new season. So we're kind of slow on the odds and slow on everything else, but F1's got it. But we also want to remind you that you can get access to all of our free picks and podcasts in one convenient place. Where is that? It's the SGPN app. Go download it for free in the App Store. Just type in SGPN. But yes, Cody, like we said, it is the dawn of a brand new era for Formula One in so many ways, right? Obviously, we know the biggest and most outward-facing way right now is adding 2 more cars to the starting grid and adding a new manufacturer in Cadillac and bringing back a driver's face that we absolutely missed seeing in the sport. But not only did they bring new changes on the grid, but they brought new changes to the cars that will take the starting flag on the grid. And it's not like they tweaked something here or tweaked something. They made a just pretty much brand new car and changed all kinds of stuff about it, not the least of which was the aerodynamics that make DRS a thing of the past. But we'll kind of talk through those and really the driver changes that come with it as well. And Cody, this new car, I don't know if there's a lot of complaining about the old one, but, here we are. The new gen era has to begin, and this is it for F1.
Is this the NASCAR next, or the
F1
next gen era, right? We just went through this with NASCAR, and it is kind of similar, where basically they've redesigned the car to try and make the racing better, to try and improve things, and that's how motorsports works as you continue to refine these cars, and it's been an evolution throughout the years, and we've had a very good car, and this is the next step of it, right? And so this does, we already had a pretty level playing field last year where there were a lot of players. Granted, we didn't actually have as many people winning races last year, but it was more on a week to week where any, a good handful of drivers could win the points championship, obviously the closest in many years, which was very exciting ending of the year. But now you add in the mix of a new car, and again, going back to the level playing field, a term that we said 8 bazillion times back in 2022 when NASCAR switched to their new car, right? And I think that's where we're going to be in this new car. Now, is Red Bull, McLaren, Mercedes, Ferrari going to be better than Aston Martin and Cadillac and some of these other teams? Of course, right? Because that's how it works. But that being said, it does open up, especially at the top, right? Between your big 4.5 teams, probably big 4 teams at this point, where it's kind of a wide open race, and that's going to make this 2026 championship run really exciting, I think.
Yeah, and so they're doing it. There's a great article, by the way, on the F1. Maybe Cody will put it in the NASCAR Discord and the F1 Discord as well, just kind of talking through everything. And really it starts with the cars getting shorter, narrower, lighter, and nimbler. So they want to make these cars easier for the driver to drive. I mean, again, it's not like they're just taking one thing and kind of tweaking it. They're scraping it down to the bottom and just redoing it all to where these drivers can, I guess what the goal is to make this easier to drive through tight corners, and they want to make it better for the road is what they're saying. So they want to make this car handle better instead of driving like a big honking piece of equipment that they can't necessarily get around. So that's what this is supposed to do.
Yeah, that's been kind of the thing is if you look at this car that they've been driving up to 2025 compared to previous iterations, it's a lot bigger car. I mean, it is drastically larger, and you come into some of these tight street circuits and courses that obviously makes it harder when they're bigger to maneuver and make the cuts and the passes and all of that. So I think that this is a great move by them, reducing the size back down, not overly too much and unsafely, but bring it back down. It's going to help hopefully be more nimble. And with all the great thing about today is we have all this technology. We have all these simulations we can run and things like iRacing and everything. They've tested these cars. It's not just, oh yeah, Jim the mechanic thinks that this is going to be better, right? They've really put these through the test, and we've seen it work out in NASCAR. There's still some kinks, right? The short track stuff, which they're getting closer figuring out, and it's getting better, but it immediately changed racing on especially the intermediates and some other places where we saw a big difference in the product and in what we got. And I think that's going to be the case here in F1 as well. And NASCAR's got money, but F1's got a lot of money, Rod.
F1's like Scrooge McDuck, just sitting on just tons and tons of cash and swimming in it every single day. NASCAR's, they're rich, but F1's definitely Scrooge McDuck. But look, part of that is bringing the wheelbase in, which is what they're trying to do to make these corners a little more, I guess, agreeable to the car, and then cutting drag to also do that too. They're still going to run the 18-inch Pirelli tires, but again, these are going to be narrower to afford them the opportunity to get around these corners a little bit as well. Not the least of which too, they're getting rid of the convoluted floors, and now they're just having a flatter floor with extended diffusers, bigger openings, so that's going to cut away some of the drag as well. And then, of course, the biggest thing, Cody, and I think the thing that we'll also get to on the other end of the break, because this will probably take this will be a two-parter, is that now we do away with the wings, right, the way they are now, and there's no longer the need for DRS as we know it right now. And the drag reduction system will be a thing of the past, where they have the 2 or 3 or 1 area where that's all you can use it, and you can only use it within a second of the driver in front of you, or, of course, the driver behind you if you're trying to hold them off as well. So, look, DRS, obviously we knew that added 17 kilometers an hour to their speeds, right? But now they're replacing it, and the rear wing doesn't open anymore the way it used to. It's just a straight, solid thing now. But they've added on this arrow, what are they calling it? The active arrow. And it's almost like push to pass in IndyCar, right? This is just a system where you can charge the battery, deploy it when you need it, and you don't have to be within a second of the driver in front of you. And there's no designated zones except a few designated straightaways. It's a little bit confusing at first, but I'm sure we'll get the hang of it.
Yeah, just like anything, right? It's going to be something that we're going to kind of learn as we go. But it sounds to me like a pretty good shift, and the not having to be in a certain zone to use it, not having to be within a certain distance to use it, I think that could make the racing more exciting and still going to be something we have to be strategic. It's not just an unlimited nitro boost button, right? But you are going to have opportunities to use it properly and correctly that will help the racing, and that's really the goal of all of this, is help the racing and just continue to make it better.
But see, what I like about this, the active arrow that they've got, the whole theory behind it, is that it's not like push to pass in Indy. There's a certain amount of time that you have to use it, right? I mean, there's only a limited amount of push to pass that you get. In this instance, it's not so much that there's a limited time. It's how much you deploy versus how much you recharge the battery. So in a sense, it's not, I mean, it's an infinite amount if you use it correctly. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not just, oh, well, I've only got 100 seconds or 50 seconds left of push to pass. At this point, it's like, all right, well, I've charged my batteries enough. I can deploy all of this at once now, but now I got to wait and recharge it again. So there's the pro and the con of using it.
Yeah, which I think is great. Again, that brings in the strategic element of it, right? It's not just unlimited or like IndyCar where it's so many seconds and use it throughout the race how you see fit. It's use it when and where you can, recharge it when and where you can, do that correctly and properly, and that's going to help you in the long run.
That's going to be so much fun to pay attention to. I'm absolutely thrilled to death. All right, we'll get to some of the other changes under the end of this break, but I want to tell you first about Kalshi. We've partnered up with Kalshi, a real money prediction market legal in all 50 states. That means in all 50 states, you can trade tons of markets, including sports, including NFL, college football, college basketball, NBA, NHL, and so much more. Plus, you can even trade props like first TDs, which, by the way, Zach Charbonnet, 10-1 for the first touchdown in Thursday night's game. He hit that, so those of you holding that market, you're probably happy. Besides sports, they got a ton of other markets, including politics, entertainment, hell. You can even trade the weather. With Kalshi, you can trade anything. Do not believe me? Well, how about this? How about the Grammy Award for Song of the Year? Raise your hand if you watched K-Pop Demon Hunters. Yes, you did. Golden from K-Pop Demon Hunters going against Luther. 57% of the money right now is on Golden. We're going up, kids. And that's something you can get in on right now at Kalshi if you see fit. New Kalshi customers get $20 when they use promo code SGPN. That's Kalshi, Kalshi, promo code SGPN. Underdog is your home for pick'em entries where you can win up to 5,000x. Underdog has you covered this holiday season with Underdog Unwrapped. You'll unwrap tons of promos all throughout the holidays. You want to pick a free pick? Here we go. How about Kevin Dutz from England? You're going to go to the darts portion of this to find Kevin Dutz. I'm going to take his total 180s projection. It's at 5.5 right now. Give me the higher then. This guy has thrown 382 180s in the last 12 months. That's a lot of 180s. So I like his ability to get 6 here in this tournament that he's playing in. That starts Friday, so go check that out right now on Underdog. Plus, I got a brand new offer for new customers. Play just $5. Get $75 in bonus funds when you sign up with the promo code SG Race SGPN. Yes, sir. Kevin Dutz. That is a fun name to say, and even better to go pick. Although, Cody, did you watch K-Pop Demon Hunters?
I've seen bits and pieces. I haven't sat down and seen the whole thing, but it's definitely been on in the house while I've been around. So,
and you've rocked around singing Golden
a little bit.
You know you have.
Maybe. I will neither confirm nor deny, Rob. But checking in with the chat, Nico is around. Says, "Hey boys, what a time to open YouTube. Sad day, RIP to the Biff. Great dude who will be missed by many." Yes, we had our little thing about him at the beginning of the show, but again, just a great driver, great dude. Very, very sad day in the NASCAR world.
Indeed. All right, let's continue on with the changes for this. So we talked about the overtaking, we talked about the active arrow, and how much that is going to change things for it. Plus that overtake mode, that's essentially just the push to pass is what we're talking about here. And then the fuel, right? So the fuel system is going to be less reliant on petrol, as they like to call it. And what they're pretty much saying is a 50-50 split between battery power and the petrol power, so less gas is what it's going to take.
Electric racing, Rod, what?
Because you want to hear the...
We're talking about this on a NASCAR show?
Yeah, can't help that.
Lose their mind.
No, then you don't want to watch Formula E then. That will just blow your mind completely, because Formula E... You want to just be like, what am I watching? Watch Formula E. It's so much fun to watch, but at the same time, you're like...
It is.
Are these cars even going?
Yeah, that is definitely weird, but no, this is good, right? It's obviously the electric part of things has already been incorporated in the cars for many years. This is just the next step of that, getting to the 50-50 split, which, let's be honest, most of the cars you're buying these days is at least that, if not more anyways.
Yeah, and so again, this is just going to be more of the power units that they're bringing into this as well, and kind of getting these guys to have to think about what they're doing. And what I love what the article said. They were like, "Doesn't this make this harder on the engineers?" And they're like, "Yes, they do, but they want the challenge." And I feel like that's the truth, right? I mean, these engineers are like, "Give us something to do, give us something to figure out."
Yeah, and that's what you love, right? And that really going all the way back to racing in its inception. That's what has always made great racing good, is You take your car and see what you can do to it to make it go faster. I take my car and see what I can do to make it go faster, and not only faster, but also last longer and be, optimum performance and all of those things. And it's always good to continue to challenge the teams. And we've seen that in NASCAR, right? And I think we're starting to get to a point where teams are really zeroing in and figuring out some quirks and things that they can do with this car. But especially those first couple of years, you're going, and learning a lot as you go, and different people are finding different angles on things, finding things that work before others do. So yeah, it's great to continue to challenge not only the drivers, which obviously we love to watch and see, but the teams through and through as well, to deliver the best product possible, on a race-to-race basis.
Yeah, and so part of that too is to try to figure out how to best make use of the new fuel that they are using, which, by the way, I want to read to you what it actually says. The fuel is made from cutting-edge sources like carbon capture, municipal waste, and non-food biomass, and it's independently certified to meet strict sustainability standards. Cody, when I first read that, the first thing I thought of was at the beginning of Back to the Future 2, when Doc comes in that car and he's rooting through the trash and he's just throwing all that stuff into the fuel tank, right? Because he's like, you don't need fuel. This is the fuel. And he's just, that's what I immediately thought of. Like, these guys are going to stand on pit stops. They're going to be grabbing the garbage can and just dumping it into the car just to get the gas going.
Yeah, that's a great comparison. And that's probably exactly what it's going to look like on TV as well.
They're like, the jack man comes in and the garbage man comes in. It's just dumping the whole thing.
Running with a trash can and dumps it in. He grabs a banana peel out of the guy standing there and throws it in there as well. Like, all right, here we go.
The soda can, he's topped off and he's trying to get all the last soda pieces out. I'm telling you what, I want to be the garbage man on pit road. That's what I want to do. Please, F1, call me. I would love to be the garbage man in your pit stall. Yeah, that would be fantastic.
But yeah, this is, again, it continues to advance things. And now, another element in all of this with the strategists, how is this going to burn? Because it's not going to burn the same way the fuel we've been using for years, the petrol we've been using for years has burned and worked. And so they're going to have to rework calculations, and that's maybe going to open up more strategy. Hey, can we make this last longer? Does it not last as long? And again, they're going to have ideas going into things, but as we've seen throughout all of racing, it's hard to believe sometimes when they can make it, how far you can make it or how far you can't make it compared to somebody else, depending on all of that. So, another challenge thrown at the teams in a wide sense to fight through all this.
So you just call Doc Brown if you ever need a hint on how to make your car last longer. All right, anything else that you want to touch on as far as the changes are concerned? I feel like those are the big highlights of them all. They're just trying to make it more manageable with more sustainable fuel and, just the whole overtake thing. They're trying to make the racing better instead of getting strung out like it has been the last couple of years.
Yeah. Absolutely, and that's the goal everybody wants, right? And that's what everybody wants to see. So, yeah, I think that was a great article from the F1 official website. You can go check that out, obviously read farther into it. And I'm sure there's people out there breaking it down farther if you want more. That's good enough for us, right?
That is more than good enough for us. We could have just come on and said, they're changing things and left it at that, but we wanted to give you a little.
It's a new car, here's the odds.
We
like to dig in a little bit, right? I'm not a combustible fuel bio whatever expert, but we could get I know enough about it to get us through.
That's what I'm saying, man. If you guys want a trash man, I am your man. All right, so not only will it be
trash man via Gomez.
Trash man via Gomez. Boy, I tell you, that should be that could be something. I could take that somewhere. All right, so driving these new cars, there will be some new drivers in new seats. We knew about all of these pretty much already. However, we will go through these all in one place. There's not a lot of surprises left, so we'll break it down.
There's only 11 teams on the grid, so it's 11 now. It was only 10 before. 11 teams on the grid, 22 drivers in total. It's good to just go through and, okay, these guys are still here. These guys have moved here. There's a few changes, nothing drastic. Next year could be the year that the entire sport is reshaped because everybody's a big free agent, what seems to be the case in F1 and in NASCAR next year. So silly season throughout the year, might be pretty interesting in both of these series.
Yeah, it's going to absolutely be interesting in both of these series, and we'll take a look. But for now, let's take a look team by team. McLaren, it's not changing. Much to the Google alerts from my youngest. It keeps pointing to Oscar Piastri leaving, but no. Oscar and Lando still going to be driving the McLaren papaya cars.
It's a pretty strong lineup to have in your stable there, Rod. They did pretty good last year, so I'd imagine that'll continue going forward.
But I can see from Piastri's standpoint, right, of why you get a little bit frustrated because you were leading the points, you were not getting the preferential treatment that you probably should have been.
Who should he be frustrated with besides himself? I mean,
well, yeah,
really, that was more just him blowing it. I think that the team showed that they were willing to allow either driver to be 1A. And I think while Oscar was leading, I don't know that it was all just he's number one, but I think they didn't make any moves where there's like, oh, we got to give some to Lando here. I think that he just kind of blew it over the summer, and then Lando put himself in position, and it was like, okay, here's our chance, and we got to watch out for Max, and it's a good thing they did it that way because otherwise they'd have both lost and gave it up to Max once again, and obviously nobody in the Papaya gang wants to see that happen.
Could you imagine? I mean, just to let that happen, to let Max steal it from these guys.
Man, that would have been tough.
Yeah, there would have been a lot of meetings. Principal, no change there. Andrea Stella is still the principal for McLaren. Again, you're keeping that team together. You won a Constructors Championship. You won a Drivers Championship. Really, there's no need to give anybody the pink slip for now. We'll see how that changes next year. No change at Mercedes as well. George Russell, Kimi Antonelli back behind the wheel. Look,
another strong lineup.
A fantastic lineup. I know that Kimi came in as the rookie last year, taking the legendary Lewis Hamilton's seat, and you just were like, well, I don't know. I don't know what to expect. We know he's a good driver. We know he can get things done. But, boy, he did nothing but go out there and just make you every week go, where did Kimi come from? And then at the end of the season, you knew exactly where Kimi came from. But, at the beginning of the season with the podiums, with the top 6 finishes, it was like, well, you traded up. Unfortunately, you traded up from Lewis Hamilton last year.
Yeah, he for stepping into those big shoes, he definitely filled them. He did a great job, and I think he's really going to be set for a very solid season. Obviously, Russell, we'll talk about as we get into the odds more because he's one of the favorites, as he should be. But yeah, this is a great stable and a young stable they have to continue to lean on going forward. Toto Wolff still in charge over there, so no big change there either.
That's what I love Toto Wolff on broadcasts. Every time they cut to him, he just never looks like he's having a good day. Even when he's smiling, he just never looks like. Yeah, like he could be over on the box just happy, and you wouldn't be able to tell. Show me happy, Toto. Show me sad.
Show me angry, Toto.
Show me angry, Toto.
Sad. It's all the same face.
Literally all the same face. It's just so funny. All right, so the first big change, obviously, we talked about this if you listened during the last F1 episode of the show. We talked about Isack Hadjar now taking the seat from Yuki Tsunoda at Red Bull at the big team, joining Max Verstappen in that one. Now, we know last year they tried Liam Lawson to start the year. That didn't turn out well. They turned the keys over to Yuki Tsunoda. That didn't turn out well, so now they're hoping that Isack Hadjar, who is coming from the Racing Bulls team, will do better. And honestly, Cody, he was finishing in the points in the top 6 in that Racing Bulls car. So I am super excited to see what he can do in the big car.
Yeah, we talked a lot about him as we kind of covered F1 at the end of the season there. Just continued to really perform well in that Racing Bulls car. The biggest question is, the second Red Bull car has lagged for a while, right? And the first Red Bull car probably has too, but the driver, Max Verstappen, is able to make up for that. So with all of these changes, are they able to adapt and give him a good, strong car? And if so, can he go out and play that second fiddle role to Max, who is the dominant number one, in the world? Can he go play that role well? Because that's what they're looking for, and that's what they've been missing since Checo left, because Checo really was the perfect guy for that role. So excited for Hadjar to get this opportunity, and we'll see what he does with it.
And see, that's exactly the point that I was going to make, too, in that we saw Perez a couple seasons ago. It was him and Verstappen won 2, won 3. Like, they were sharing podiums like Lando and Oscar were this year, right? It was just a matter of these guys would continue to go out and push each other. And then we didn't get that last year at all, right? And we didn't get that really at the tail end of Perez's time with Red Bull anyways. And it was sort of a gap widened. And when Max doesn't have anybody to push him to be the best, we see what happens. So hopefully Isack brings that sense of youth, brings that sense of energy. And, again, these podium finishes that Hadjar had and the top 6 finishes in the lesser equipment, now that he's on the varsity squad, I'm hoping for big things out of Isack Hadjar. Somebody we'll be talking about a lot in terms of the betting aspect of it, if and when we get a chance to talk F1. Cody, let's be completely honest.
Absolutely.
And then the team principal here is Laurent Mekies, right? He was promoted to the Red Bulls. He was promoted from Racing Bulls midway through 2025 to replace Christian Horner, who obviously we knew walked away.
Christian Horner? What?
Bad dog.
Was he hanging out with Sharon Moore?
Ooh, too soon.
Okay.
But no, so this should help Hadjar as well, right? Because of the Racing Bulls tie. And we're good. And then, of course, they're transitioning from Honda power to Red Bull Ford powertrains, which is a big deal.
Yeah, that's probably the bigger change than even the new car, right? As they are going over to Ford. Could that relationship ending with Honda been part of the more down performance over the last couple of years? Could we see that at Colleague, right? We're going to draw some similarities there. They're, already dancing with the Dodge people. So, but big for Ford to get back into F1. Obviously, they've got a history there, and with Chevrolet or GM stepping up with the Cadillac program, great to see Ford get in there as well and have good American representation.
Good American representation indeed. All right, no change in Ferrari. Still Charles Leclerc, still Lewis Hamilton. Again, despite all reports that Lewis Hamilton will be stepping aside. I will ask, though, and maybe he's probably contemplated this over the offseason as well, how long is too long to hang on? Like, if he doesn't have a good season this year, is this it?
Man, he's got to have one more good one, right? There's got to be one good one in Ferrari. We don't want to remember him as Adrian Peterson on the Lions. Like, we want to remember him as Tom Brady on the Buccaneers, right? Where he went to a different team and finished it out strong. It's not Michael Jordan on the Wizards. Like, that's not what we want to end this.
Joe Montana on the Chiefs.
Yes, exactly. There's countless. Unfortunately, there's a lot more examples of the bad side of it than the good side of it. But hopefully we can get another good run from this. But yeah, I mean, the window's closing no matter how good he runs or how bad he runs. There's only so much time left, and any of these years could be his final one.
Yeah, again, it's just so sad. It really is, because you want him to do well. The sport is better when Lewis Hamilton is one of the guys that you're talking about on a week-to-week basis, just being good overall. So, all right, we'll go down the rest of the teams because there are a couple of biggies that we have yet to get to, and we'll get there. But first, let me tell you about our friends over at Novig. We're also brought to you by Novig. Novig is America's #1 sports prediction market. With Novig, you're getting all of the best prices. Looking right now, I gave this out the other day, and it's still sitting here, so you got to take this, right? It's Tulane, it's Ole Miss. They are playing in their bowl game, and Ole Miss right now is favored by 17.5, but come on, man. The American Conference champion, Tulane, the Green Wave, you tell me they can't cover a 17.5 point spread? I tell you they can. So give me Tulane plus 17.5 minus 106 over on Novig. Just barely no juice at all whatsoever. Again, that's a lot of disrespect for the 17th ranked team right now. I know they're going against Ole Miss, who's 6th ranked, but I still believe in the Green Wave. So get there. Download the Novig app. Get $50 when you spend $5 if you use our promo code SGPN. Get in on the action with Novig promo code SGPN. Rhythm crushing it in the NFL season, especially on props. They've been really good at identifying when to fade players and to take those unders. College basketball up and running, and with 300 schools, Rhythm has predictions for every game, every night, which, like a fine wine, pairs nicely with the daily TCE shows with Matt Colby and Noah. Every game, you are prepared. Super easy to sign up, run predictions off the house model, or You can make your own. Play with the sliders. With so many sports in the holidays, it makes it easy to get an elite prediction on a game so I can focus on all kinds of other sports. Talking NFL, how about the Eagles and the Commanders? Ooh, that's a big game right there. Passing yards for Jalen Hurts. Under 217.5 passing yards for Jalen Hurts is what Rhythm is predicting at -114. Jalen Hurts has been running all over the place, so I guess they're anticipating him to not have to throw all that much and for Saquon to have some pretty good success against this Washington Commanders team. So Jalen Hurts, under 217.5 passing yards in the game. Use promo code SGPN25 when you download the Rhythm app for 25% off your first month. Download Rhythm. Use promo code SGPN25. Personally, Cody, I don't care if Jalen Hurts passes for 6,000 yards. No longer in the playoffs. He can no longer hurt me. I'm so irritated. Sucks.
Well, I'd care if he passes for a lot of yards, Rod, so I would appreciate if he does.
Okay, well, fine. Then do that, and then we'll all be good. Sorry, I forgot to give the team principal out for Mercedes before we go. Fred Vassar moved from Sauber, Alfa Romeo, and he's still there. So, for Ferrari. Yes. Sorry. So, yes, that is that. Williams, no change in Williams' lineup either. They're still having Alex Albon and Carlos Sainz drive their cars. And, you know, we talked a lot about Carlos Sainz and how the step down from Ferrari was he wanted to elevate Williams. He did a good job of not burning the house down. But you got to think that he's hungry for more this year. We saw some signs of life at him at the end of the podium in the last couple of races of the season was huge for him there. So he's going to be pushing. You know, Alex Albon is always a points getter, you know, when he's not really doing bad things either. But yeah, this team should be fine next year. It's just not going to be a heavy contention for much other than points finishes and maybe the occasional top six.
Yeah, this is actually the team I've got my eye on the most. When it comes to betting on the championship outright, you're not going to bet on these guys, but I think that Williams is potentially the team that could take the biggest step. I think that they've been building up very nicely, and they've been increasing. And, you know, with James Vowles there as the team principal, when he came over, there was definitely a big shift there. Getting a big-name driver like a Carlos Sainz after he was kind of forced out of Ferrari has been good. And as you mentioned, some podiums at the end of the year, some good runs. Now you get this change in the car. Williams seems to be pretty invested in the future, and I think they've been building up towards this and maybe using this as their opportunity. We saw, especially with a team like Trackhouse, when they switched to the next-gen car in the NASCAR world, right? They had a big bump right away because it was like, hey, let's go all in on this new car. Now it's a little bit fallen back, well, depending on the driver, a little bit fallen back off since then, but I'm kind of looking for that from Williams. I think they could be that team to kind of insert themselves into the, you know, best of the rest conversation at the top.
Indeed. Their team principal remains the same as well. James Vowles will be there alongside of them for another year. And then we go to the biggest change, obviously, that the domino from Isack Hadjar moving up to the varsity squad. That means that there was a spot left alongside Liam Lawson in the Liam Lawson. Every time, just I want to end his name with an M. I don't know why. It's whatever. Symmetric. Liam Lawson, and now Arvid Lindbald is going to be joining the Racing Bulls squad for the next year. He is a Kiwi racer, entering his third season in F1, but only second full year as he started out with Racing Bulls. Oh, no, the senior partner to Lindbald makes a step up from F2. So he's a British driver. He's had a handful of FP1 sessions with Red Bull and some private tests. So another young kid jumping up into the mix to take a Racing Bull seat.
He'll be 18 still when the season begins. So very young kid, but obviously, you know, if Red Bull's letting you, you know, run some of their practice sessions and they're putting you in a junior car like this, they believe in you. And Red Bull constantly looking at the future options, right? There's already been some discourse. Max, there was some thought at some point, maybe he wouldn't even be with Red Bull this coming year. They've obviously settled that and he's back, but will he continue to be there forever? Is Hadjar the answer for P2 to him? Does it need to be somebody else? So yeah, great opportunity for a very talented young driver.
Indeed. And then Yuki Tsunoda, right? He's still going to be testing. They still have him on board as a test driver for that for the Red Bull.
And he'll be the reserve driver as well. Yep.
Not getting rid of completely, but still, there was. Alan Perman is promoted to team principal at Racing Bulls. He was that way midway through the season, so he will be joining them as well. Aston Martin, no change there either. Fernando Alonso and Lance Stroll will both be in this, but again, they were one of the big five a couple of seasons ago, and they just sort of disappeared out of the mix, and now
they
they're
were
just
one
there.
of the big 4.5. Anyways.
Well, there you go.
But yeah, I mean, Alonso back for his 23rd season. Talk about when our guys going to hang it up. And Stroll's dad still owns the team, so he's back.
Yeah, again, this is one of those teams where they're probably going to be in the mix more often than not for points finishes, maybe in a fringe top 6 here and there. But I just, until we see somebody else in these seats, I don't know that we're going to get much more out of that. Podium finishes are going to be few and far between. Wins, even fewer and far between. So team principal, Adrian Newey takes over for Andy Cole.
That is the potential big thing, right? He comes over from Red Bull. And yeah, like what type of impact could he bring from them? Definitely a big name and a good get for them. So that's honestly the most interesting part of Aston Martin is Newey coming over there and seeing what changes and what impact he can have.
Indeed. Haas is staying the same as well. Esteban Ocon and Ollie Behrman will be there. Again, another couple of guys that we were really talking about a lot in points finishes. We were getting good numbers on both of them for points finishes. Behrman came through for us quite a bit. Ocon did as well toward the end there especially. But, look at Ollie Behrman, almost not as exciting as Kimi, but definitely an exciting rookie that we watched last year, and be excited to see what he can do in his second year.
Yeah, big fan of the Beerman, Ollie Behrman. But no, I loved betting on him there at the end of the season. I think he's a very talented young guy. We saw him step in to the Ferrari a couple of seasons ago when Sainz had his appendectomy, went out, put down a great performance in a very good car, and then had a solid rookie season with Haas last year. So, love to see them bringing back the same lineup and continuing to build on what was a pretty good season. So, love it for both these guys.
Yeah, and Ocon definitely needs to bring something to the table this year because Behrman's gonna be one of those guys where I think in fantasy, in DFS, we're gonna be playing him a lot because beating your teammate is key, and he continues to do that. So team principal there will still remain Ao Komatsu. He took over for Gunther Steiner at the start of 2024, and he's been there ever since. So that's no change as well. Big change, Cody, because now you're reading this. It is no longer Kick Sauber. It is now Audi, right? So Sauber, Audi. You gotta bring that little inflection to that. But
Sauber is Audi?
Sauber is Audi, and Audi is Innie. Nico Hülkenberg, Gabriel Bortoleto will still be the drivers, but they are no longer Kick Sauber. They are Audi, so that's going to be something to get used to. Gabriel Bortoleto, we talked a lot about, especially for fantasy purposes, but a couple of points finishes here and there. And then, of course, Hülkenberg, we know, should be able to do it, could be able to do it. So now, will Audi, right, bringing this into the sport, make this a more competitive team for points finishes?
Yeah, this is one of those teams that's sort of changed at the top quite a few times over the last couple of years. I don't know that we've seen drastic results any of the times. So we'll see. It's just going to be jury's out, right? We'll see what happens. You did have Hülkenberg get his first ever podium last year, so that was great to see for the team. But a lot of question marks here, I think. We saw some upside, right? Hülkenberg has been around for a while. He's been a solid driver. Bortoleto, we saw definitely some upside. Jury's very much out on this one, and we'll kind of have to see how it goes.
Indeed. Jonathan Wheatley remains the team principal, took over midway through the last season, so he will be there calling the shots for Audi. Alpine, Pierre Gasly, Franco Colapinto return again in the seats. Colapinto, another one of those guys that we were always talking about for points finishes. It's funny, these rookies came in, and we really were hyping them up for points finishes, and more often than not, they were getting it done. Gasly gotten the points here and there as well, just one of those veteran drivers. This team, still going to be the Alpine team that we hope gets double points finishes because we were all over them a couple seasons ago, and,
Yeah. Nowhere to go but up for them right now. They were last on the grid this past year, but definitely some bright signs, right? Colapinto, we'll see. I don't know. I think there was some positives, but I don't know. It was tough a lot of the season. Gasly had his bright spots. He did cash some bigger tickets towards the end of the season, so you always like that. But they don't even know who their boss is going to be yet, Rod.
I was going to say, we don't know who's sitting on the pit box. TBC is what the team principal is. Another new face on the grid. This will be the biggest face on the grid that's new is Cadillac, because not only is it a new manufacturer, but it's also adding 2 more cars to the grid. We get to welcome back Valtteri Bottas and Sergio Perez to the grid.
Just a legendary pairing of second fiddle drivers. Right?
But listen, this is going to be exciting because not only do we get Bottas and Perez back on the track, but we also get to see them in an entirely new manufacturer, which we've not seen in the sport.
Yeah, and I think for Cadillac, this is the smart way to do it, right? You're bringing in 2 guys who are veterans. They've been around. They've been at premier teams. Checo obviously was with Red Bull and Bottas with Mercedes for a while there. And they drove with guys like Max Verstappen, Lewis Hamilton. So they've learned a few things along the road. But now you're a brand new team. You're starting up. And we know in racing that that's not an easy thing to do. They've obviously brought in people that are experienced, and they've got the simulation stuff and all the technology we talked about, but it's going to take them some time to get up to speed. But you've got 2 guys that are very capable of providing great feedback. I think that's the number one thing, right, is they'll be able to point this team in the right direction as they get their feet wet and as they set things in here. One of the biggest impacts, though, Rod, is a lot of times we like to bet on points finisher. Well, if you want to be a points finisher, you only got to beat 10 of the other guys out there on the grid. Now, instead of 20 drivers, we're going to have 22. So that's definitely going to shift that dynamic, and it'll be interesting to see. Hopefully the books will adjust the odds accordingly and give us a little bit of a bigger number, because it's going to be harder to get into the points this coming year. But that really going from 20 to 22 is a pretty big change, because it has been 20 for so long.
Indeed. Team principal there will be Graham Loudon. He will be on the pit wall calling the shots. So lots of great changes, lots of great opportunities for new folks, old folks, and for us just to be able to watch. This is gonna be fun.
Yeah, it absolutely is. This is shaping up to be another great season. Obviously, F1 had their spell of years, and all motorsports go through this. IndyCar's been kind of there with Palou. NASCAR, to a degree, was there with Jimmy Johnson for his 5 in a row, right? Max Verstappen, he's winning all the races. Then this past year, there's a big shift at the top, and the McLaren cars were the better cars. You saw Max have to really work for it. He did so. We had a very exciting points battle, came all the way down to the end. Norris edges out Verstappen by 2 points, takes home the title. Now you take what was already some parity at the top between, any given week, the McLarens could win. Any given week, Max could win in the Red Bull. Any given week, the 2 Mercedes could win. And Ferrari wasn't that far off, right? They certainly were a step down, but not too far off. You've got those 4 big teams. Now you're taking them and putting them in new cars, right? The next gen of the F1 car. And that's going to help keep that parity level. It's going to help even out that playing field. And this is going to be a really, really exciting year in F1 2026. Racing is it's in such a good spot, Rod. NASCAR is the best it's been in quite some time. A lot of people argue that, but I really, truly believe that. IndyCar, Palou's been dumb, but we talked about it yesterday. There's some exciting stuff, some exciting teams and changes and stuff over there that I think are going to be really solid for next year. And walking through the teams in the grid here in 26 for F1, I'm getting pretty pumped already for some racing.
I'm getting pumped for some racing for sure as well. And I'll tell you right now, one of the biggest changes that's coming up too is you got to subscribe to Apple TV if you would like to watch Formula One races.
Which is it's one of the billion subscriptions we already have, and there's a lot of good stuff there. So
I need a sponsor. So somebody pay for my Apple TV for the year, and I'll say your name on the show every single week. Laura saying hi. Hard to carry on, but hey guys, hi Laura. Yeah, we definitely gave our tribute earlier in the thing. All right, so let's talk about some odds real quick because championship odds are out.
Do you want to talk about them, or should we just make it another episode, Ron?
You know what?
Because I feel like we've gotten to the part where we might just stretch this into part 2 because I don't, especially this year, I don't think we want to breeze through the odds. I think that there's 8 guys truly and honestly that deserve to be in the conversation. And I think we should take more time to talk about it. So I think we put a pin in it here, pick it back up next week, and carry on with it. There was a lot to talk about as far as the grid. And while there was minor changes, they were still impactful. And I think it was good to spend the time we did on it. So let's go with part 2.
Okay. Cody's making the executive decision to talk about it. I will say just before that. Okay, fine. So we're not misleading with this. Let's give you a real quick look at the top 4 on Caesars. This is so that the thumbnail folks go, you didn't even talk about the championship odds. All right, here, I'll give you these odds real quick.
Here's the odds.
We'll break them down
more next week. That's
there it is.
Your cliffhanger.
That's your cliffhanger. Verstappen plus 190 to win. Norris plus 300. Russell plus 450. Oscar plus 450. And that's really the top 4 there. Actually, DK has plus 250 for Lando, plus 250 for George, plus 275 for Max, and then 5-1 for Oscar. Kimmy's 9-1. So We'll have this conversations part 2.
Yeah, and shopping around too will be part of it, and we'll kind of try and get a good idea next week when we present it to you for where the better odds are, because depending where you look, there are some pretty good differences, as you just kind of referenced 2 of the spots there. But yeah, it's going to be an exciting 26 season. And I think the championship is pretty wide open between quite a few drivers.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to watch for sure. All right, well then catch us next week for part 2, where we'll actually discuss the championship odds as opposed to just giving you the quick 4, because, like I said, I needed to heed to the thumbnail. So, all right, Cody. Well, then let's get out of here for the week and enjoy our weekend. We'll come back again next week and talk more Formula One. In the meantime, let everybody know, Cody, where they can find you out in the wild world.
Christmas next week already. Crazy.
Oh my God.
Only 59 days till Daytona. We're getting ever so closer. You can follow me over on the X at Husker_Zeeb, where you can find all of my work, and there is a lot of it. Again, the Biff, we love you, buddy. Rest easy. Thinking of his family and everybody on that flight's family. Sad, horrible day in NASCAR, but do something nice for your neighbors. Do something nice for a random stranger today, because that's what Greg would have done, and he's not here to do it anymore. So let's pick up that mantle and keep it going forward, and rest easy, Biff.
Indeed. I was looking at, I was sure that I had a 16 car over there somewhere, but I think I'd have to dig around for it as well. But yes, please, in the spirit of Greg Biffle, be a great human being and just continue to live life and serve others. And in the meantime, follow me on Twitter at RJ Villagomez. You can find everything that I'm up to as well. Enjoy your weekend. We'll see you guys next week for more of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast. And until then, let's go racing. Let's make NASCAR gambling fun again and let it ride.
Another piece of us is broken.